Actually, I had to be honest with myself. I felt my religion made sense and everybody else's sounded stupid. I did. Everybody else's religion sounded stupid, you know? Like I live out in Los Angeles, there's a bunch of Scientologists out there. And the first time I heard the story of Scientology, I was like, that is the dumbest shit I have ever heard in my life. Why does that sound so dumb to me? I don't know, you know what it is? You know, I think it's because I heard their story when I was an adult. I heard my story when I was like 4 years old, right?
Profession of morality, and you say, look at that, that's religion. And you leave out all the horrible bits. And you say, oh, we don't believe that anymore, we've grown out of that. Well, of course we've grown out of it. We've grown out of it because of secular moral philosophy and rational discussion.
When you say non-believers, people who like to reject science
Yes.
in favor of their religious philosophies.
Yes.
So these are people who are apparently require data to support their faith. I find that odd, right? Because then it's not faith, right? I mean, if you have religious faith, then whatever anyone says about the world wouldn't matter to you. If it does matter to you, then that's a different kind of contract that you're taking out on information. And that contract is, there could be data out there that would conflict with your religious philosophy, and then you'd have to go along with it. But that's not what actually happens. There's a pretense that data matters, and then they filter it, reinterpret it, ignore parts of it, slice and dice it so that it all fits in to the religious philosophy. So it requires blinders in order to make that happen. Baghdad was open to all thought at the time, between AD 800 and 1100, around there. If you look at the advances that unfolded in that period, in that location, it includes the invention of algebra. Algebra is an Arabic word. Algorithm is an Arabic word. 2/3 of the stars in the night sky that have names have Arabic names. If you look at what was going on, they were open to all lines of thought. Jews, Muslims, Christians. There were doubters back then. Today we would call them atheists. They would all come around a table and share ideas. If you have some philosophy that's got holes in it, someone's going to find it. And then you got to dig a little deeper from the sacking of Baghdad, and you find out there was a Muslim cleric, Al-Ghazali was his name, who was to Islam what St. Augustine was to Christianity. Told everybody how to behave. There's the book. You follow this, you're a good Christian. Al-Ghazali said, you follow this, you're a good Muslim. In that text included the assertion, which gained influence socially, but then politically, so then it had power of influence. In there was the assertion that mathematics and the manipulation of numbers was the work of the devil. The entire enterprise collapsed and never recovered. It has not recovered since. If you look at the number of Muslims who have won the Nobel Prize in the sciences, it's one.
It's just human nature, brutal human nature, to make other people your slave if you possibly can. Now, we have come a long way since that time, but in the Bible, nobody even thought to condemn it. There's lots of rules about slavery in the Bible. None of them are, don't do it. They never even thought to say that. Like, don't do it. God's perfectly okay with it. His boy Jesus is perfectly okay with it.
My kids, I believe that kids, our brain evolved. My kids are a lot smarter than me.
Well, humans definitely evolve as individuals. Hopefully we evolve as we get older. I mean, we get smarter, we have more experiences, we become more mature. Definitely men are very immature when we're young.
Western civilization, the civilization that developed universal human rights, created women's equality, ended slavery, created parliamentary democracy, among other unique achievements, would not have developed without them.
If that were true, then all this progress would have come about thousands of years ago and not just in the last century or so. But each of the advances you cited were made only recently, after the Enlightenment and in spite of the commandments.
Even if the God of the Christian Bible were true, a lot of people, even if they might believe it were true, wouldn't want to be a Christian, because being a Christian implies that you are following that God, that you are a worshiper of that God. And to be honest, the God of the Bible is pretty fucking awful. And they'll be like, hey, can I ask a question? If Islam were true, would you be a Muslim? Hey, if you found out today that you knew for a fact that there was no God, would you then abandon all morals and go out and just start burning things in the street and punching people in the face? Because I don't think you would. You want to be kind to others. For me personally, whenever I became an atheist, I think I became a better person because I didn't have this idea that life continued after death. And that made me value the life that I have more. And that feeling didn't make me want to go out and party and live in sin and do all these wild and crazy things, YOLO, you know, that kind of mentality, which is what they all seem to think that someone like me would have. It actually made me live a lot better because I realized that not only is this my only chance to have a good life, it's everybody else's only chance to have a good life too.
On Dr. Craig's view, most of these people, many of these people certainly, will be going to hell because they're praying to the wrong God. Just think about that. Okay, through no fault of their own, they were born into the wrong culture where they got the wrong theology and they missed the revelation. Okay, there are 1.2 billion people in India at this moment. Most of them are Hindus, most of them therefore polytheists. Okay, in Dr. Craig's universe, no matter how good these people are, they are doomed. If you are praying to the monkey god Hanuman, you are doomed. Okay. You will be tortured in hell for eternity. Now, is there the slightest evidence for this? No. It just says so in Mark 9 and Matthew 13 and Revelation 14. Okay. So God created the cultural isolation of the Hindus. Okay. He engineered the circumstance of their deaths in ignorance of revelation. And then he created the penalty for this ignorance, which is an eternity of conscious torment in fire.